In every community, each member has a role to maintain communication and nourish each other. In this way, the community is sustained and everyone can flourish. However, every day, people with disabilities face situations of exclusion. They often get overlooked for work that they are qualified for, or cannot access transportation to get to where they need to go. Many cannot join in community activities, while others get stared at, ignored, or joked about when they go out. When any person is excluded, the circle is broken, leaving gaps that weaken the potential for the community to fully grow and thrive. It's happening each day, and it hurts everyone. The first step to solving this problem is Nisidotam, understanding through learning from each other. In each family, community, and nation, every person has a fundamental responsibility to support one another. People with disabilities have knowledge, skills, and unique perspectives to contribute. The more ways we can figure out how to create access and inclusion for people who are facing barriers, the more entire communities will thrive, making the circle complete and strong. So, how can we make the circle stronger? The first step is to understand what disability is. What is disability? A person with a disability has at least one condition that affects their body or mind. This condition can make it more difficult to do certain activities. It can also make it more difficult to thrive in their family or community because of barriers like lack of information, negative stigma, or inaccessible infrastructure or activities. Condition of difference. What are some of the ways people experience disability every day? People with disabilities have one or more differences in the way that they process information and interact with the world. These differences are often sorted into 6 categories to help us understand the common traits. They are: developmental disability can affect and cause significant differences in sensory processing, language development, learning, mobility, and independent living. Mental health conditions can affect a person's mood, thinking, and behavior. Physical conditions affect a person's mobility, physical capacity, stamina, or dexterity. Learning disabilities can affect a person's ability to organize, remember, understand, or use information. Sensory conditions affect the senses and how a person gathers information from the world around them. Chronic illness persists over a long period of time and often affects a person's functioning in some way. Barriers and accessibility. The best way to know how to support people with disabilities is to speak with them to understand what is needed. Many don't realize that people with disabilities frequently encounter barriers when they try to participate in the community and access services. By focusing on accessibility, we begin to break down physical barriers in our communities. For example, taking away the need to use stairs by installing ramps, widening doorways, and installing rails. However, many disabilities are invisible. Some carry the invisible wounds from colonization, racism, and discrimination. Even though these unseen conditions can significantly impact a person's life, they are often not understood as valid or needing support. In the same way that we are breaking down physical barriers, we have a collective responsibility to break down barriers and attitudes that block access to those with invisible conditions. Supports. How can we support those in the circle to be strong and resilient? Having access to traditional healing can promote mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual wellness, as well as restore both family and community bonds and general well-being. For some, having support from a professional can help with self-care, managing impairment effects, accessing learning, achieving developmental milestones, or receiving helpful tips for personal progress. Sameness. In the circle, we are all equal. We all face challenges. So why do many people with disabilities get singled out and left out? Like a coin with two sides, on the one side, people with disabilities have differences, but on the other, they are the same as everyone else. Like all people, those with disabilities have gifts. Their lives add to the richness and diversity in their families, communities, and nations. Like all people, those with disabilities thrive best when they are valued and seen. Living in balance, the medicine wheel. All people, regardless of their situation, need the opportunity to live in balance in order to progress on their life path, to find meaning, purpose, and secure a sense of belonging to something beyond themselves. Advocates, allies, and support professionals. In each family, community, and nation, every person has a fundamental responsibility to support one another. People with disabilities have knowledge, skills, and unique perspectives to contribute. The more ways we can figure out how to create access and inclusion for people who are facing barriers, the more entire communities will thrive, making the circle complete and strong.